Hi everyone, thank you for joining us right here on North Dakota today. Well, the mission of United Healthcare is to help people live healthier lives, and that includes a dedicated focus on mental well-being. Well, this can especially be true during these long winter months, and here joining us via Zoom is Dr. Abby Miller of United Healthcare. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing okay, but I have to admit I have kind of been suffering from the winter blues, so I'm excited to chat about this.
Yeah, so you're not alone.
Yes.
About 40% of people actually report feeling a little down, a little sluggish, maybe feel a little lack of motivation in the winter months.
Yes, I think this is a subject that a lot of us can agree on. So I'm curious though, why is it that almost 40% of Americans really report a declining mood in the winter months?
Yeah, so that's a wonderful question. And it really has a lot to do, I think, with sunlight.
Hmm.
So we recognize in the winter months, obviously there's less sunlight. And then secondly, we tend to spend more time indoors,
Hmm.
perhaps even away from windows. So we're not really seeing a lot of that light. And we know that sunlight helps our body to regulate our sleep schedules. It regulates melatonin. So it really does have positive benefits for your mood. And so one of the things that I tell people is, try to aim to get about 30 minutes of indirect sunlight, usually early in the morning. So if you're one of those people, maybe you've got a little bit of a longer commute to work, or you can sit by a window. You want to try to get about 30 minutes of that indirect bright sunlight each morning. If it's a cloudy day, then you're going to aim for about 60 minutes.
Okay, that is certainly a great tip. Do you have any other strategies that you could suggest that may help with mood changes?
Absolutely. So another thing for people to do in addition to sunlight, activity, some
Hmm.
exercise. So we've talked about this before. We know that activity and exercise are going to help with those endorphins. Those endorphins then in turn are going to lower your cortisol level. That's the stress hormone. So getting out, being active, that's going to be another thing that will help your mood. A third thing you can do is spending time with friends and family. We know that isolation, and certainly in the winter months, isolation can be a little tough. We know that isolation is one of those things, and loneliness is one of those things, obviously, that cause people to feel a little more down. So, making a point to be out, spending time with friends and family, maybe doing some exercise outside with those friends and family. So now you're getting all three things all at once: a little sunlight, a little exercise, a little time with friends.
All right, definitely some great tips. So is there a certain period of time or maybe month that you're seeing the issues are the worst in the winter months?
Surprisingly, February.
Yeah,
So right now,
perfect,
February, even
right?
though I know. So I joke that even though February is the shortest month, I don't know about you, but sometimes it feels like the longest month.
Hmm.
And it really has to do with, a lot of the holiday fun is over. Spring still feels so far away. And so February to me just sort of feels like winter just won't end. So it's a really great time to try to implement some of these tips.
Definitely. I want to talk a little bit more about what Americans are personally feeling throughout these winter months. So what kind of effects can people notice?
So a lot of times people are going to notice that they're feeling, so like we talked about, a little more down.
Hmm.
People also might feel a lack of memory. So you will notice memory and attention. Another thing that I'll notice is a lot of people will say that they feel like they need to sleep more. Some folks will tend to crave more of those comfort foods, those
Hmm.
carbohydrates. Those are a lot of the things that people see and report during this time of year. A lot of times, as we've talked, a lot of times some of those simple tips can be enough to get people out of that sort of winter blues. But notice that for some folks, they're going to need more than that. Some folks are actually going to need to talk to their doctor because these symptoms are persisting. They're getting worse. They're not getting better with some of the simple tips. And so those folks should be talking to their doctor about other things that they can try. Sometimes it might be something like psychotherapy, or it may even be medication for some people.
Okay, well, that is certainly good to know. And thank you so much for these helpful tips this morning.
Anytime. Glad to help.
Yes, okay, where can we go for more information about everything that we talked about?
As always, you can find more information at uhc.com.
Well, wonderful. And thank you so much for your time this morning. This really is a very important conversation.
It is. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. We'll see you next time. And everybody at home, stick around because coming up on today's show, Studio Vibe is bringing Lion King Jr. to Fargo. We'll hear from them after the break.
What's your number?
I drove 113 miles.
And I drove 124 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota.
Quality Toyota.
North Harvest Bean Growers Association.